Hey guys, it's Adriel, the Hunting Gear Guy. I wanted to show you this FOXPRO Wildfire. This is a entry-level call that's available from FOXPRO. I was actually looking for the Spitfire, but I think this model is the one that's coming after it, and this is the one they had at the store, so this is the one I picked up. This is pretty much everything that comes in the box. There's a user's manual and that kind of thing, but we won't go over that. It's got a little cable here that you can use for connecting in your, let me see here, is this stereo? This is stereo. So this would be your external speaker. It's also got an auxiliary port here, and you could use that to connect to one of those external swivelly tail kind of things that, that you can use to retract things, and you can control it from the remote, which is kind of cool. There's a switch here to use the speaker that's built into this thing, or actually turn that speaker off. So if you've got some really smoking external speakers, you can connect them up there and not use the internal one. And it's got a standard on-off switch here. For how this thing's constructed, it kind of looks like it's really cheap, just in terms of the plastic and color. But when you see these things in person, they actually look quite a bit more, I want to say, industrial. It's very thick, the plastic, the molding's pretty good. It's still got these sharp lines in here. You can tell it's built to a specific price point. But overall, it's not all that bad. This handle here is a little bit small. As you can see here, I'm pretty much flush up with my hand in here. And once I have winter gloves on, I'm basically running 3 fingers in here. That was a little bit disappointing, but not all that much. On the flip side of the unit here, we have a battery compartment. This was quite a bit hard to get into when I first got it, but I've got the trick now. We've got 4 AA batteries, and we've got a 9-volt connector. Don't actually connect this thing up with a 9-volt just to use the battery chassis. It's just a convenient way for them to use kind of existing components. We've got this rubber backing here, so this actually fits nice and snug in there. If you've seen any of my other videos, I really dislike equipment that rattles, and this one has a little bit of a rattle, but nothing too bad. Moving to the back of the unit, we have this hatch here, and that's where we've got, and it's really hard to get to, but there's a micro SD there that's used for storing calls on. And it's also got one of these USB ports kind of up at the top here, so you can connect it up with your computer, reprogram it, that kind of thing. I'm not going to do that just yet. I'm just interested in kind of using the sounds that it comes with, but it's interesting that it comes with that capability. Maybe if you wanted to hunt a different game than this thing is preloaded for, that would be a really great feature. I'm going to turn it on, and I'm just going to kind of put it off to the side here. I'm going to focus attention on this remote unit. Let me just get that thing right out of the way. Moving on to the remote, I'm just going to power it on here, and to do that you just kind of hold this power button for a second or two, and we get that FOXPRO name, and then it starts showing the calls available here. Just right from the bottom, we've got an auxiliary button that turns on that auxiliary port so that we can make that tail swish or whatever thing we might have that's powered externally. P1 and P2, those are some presets that we can use. We've got a send button, sound up and down, to kind of move us along through these different calls that we've got here. We've got mute, which is just going to kind of mute things, obviously. Recall, volume up and volume down. So just as an example here, I'm going to send a call to the unit, and there's send. And by default, my volume's all the way down. I'm just going to volume up a little bit. And you can see that it's sending that call. Now if I wanted to switch calls, what I might want to do is just mute it, go to the next call that I might want to send, and then hit send and then unmute. And you can see that those calls are coming through just fine. I can volume up or volume down these things right from the controller, or I can quickly change them with one of these presets. I'm just going to mute that. So that's kind of cool, and in practice this does take a little bit of getting used to, a little bit of training that you have to do yourself. But once you get used to it, it is very quick to kind of flip through these things. The screen does switch to a red backlight mode when it gets dark. It's not dark in here because I've got a million lights pointing at this thing to make sure it's looking good for the video. But it's actually really easy to use, and one of the other features that's available on this unit and is on this Wildfire is something that they call a Foxbang. The whole idea is that it's designed so that after you're shot, when this remote unit detects a shot, that it'll put a call that's going to be advantageous for just after a shot. In that case, being one of a wounded coyote, so that you're doing your calls, a coyote comes in, you shoot at that coyote, and it throws out a wounded coyote call. And maybe you can call in some coyotes from the periphery kind of thing, the ones that are kind of sitting on the edge. They hear that wounded coyote and they might come in to investigate. I'll just show you what that looks like. I'll turn my mute off and I'll just simulate a shot. And you can see that jumps straight to that wounded coyote call. It does also change the volume to whatever you had preset, so it was quite loud in here, and that's kind of what I wanted to do anyways when it was outside, so that's where I would have had that set. So again, this was the FOXPRO Wildfire. This is a beginner level call. The volume was not really enough to get really far out there, but the quality was really good. It came with quite a few built-in calls, and the ones that I was using, I had a couple of buddies out there hunting with me. They couldn't tell which calls were coming from the unit and which ones were coming from coyotes that were actually in our vicinity. So that goes to talk a little bit about the quality of the calls. Some of the calls did have a little bit of a squelch or a little bit of a click towards the end, so I wasn't really happy about those. But all in all, like this is really low on the price points as far as calls go, so I can't complain too much about a couple of little imperfections here or there, just considering the price point that this thing's at. So thanks for watching. If you found this valuable, subscribe for more information about calls, rifles, and other hunting gear. Thanks.